Okay. So, did it go down again? Come on. Hey, there's a Flurry. Why did it cut me off now? I don't understand why it cut me off. Did it? Cut it! That was almost a disaster! What was it? Over here? That's... And why am I still cut off? I have put you back and I'm still cut off. Why? I should have tried it. Okay, that's better, but let me turn this a little bit more this way. And now you're back down and you cut me off again. Hold on. Up. We're gonna get to the review portion of this. I'm gonna try. Alright. Alright, here we go. Paranormal Activity 3. Activity 3. Can't really see because it's dark, but I said I had to do it here. So we're doing it here. And Paranormal Activity 3. Is it better than I remember? The answer is yes. So yeah, this is another prequel taking place in 1988, 1 year after I was born, by the way. And okay, so some of my review. What the hell was on my face? Did I have like a goatee or something I was trying to grow? It looked like I got mold or something on my face. It looked terrible. I look terrible, and I'm so sorry for you having to see that. So yeah, this is a prequel. I like this movie. Like, they say, you know, second or third watch, you watch better. I've watched this movie like 4 or 5 times. It gets better every time I watch it. And that's because, unlike the first two, I think it handles its characters very well. There's a lot more going on. Yes, you have those static shots where the camera's just, you know, stationary. But in the standard night 1, night 2, but there is a lot more that goes on. However, there's some more retconning. In the first film, Katie says there was something that stood at for her bed, always went after her and never her sister. But in this film, because we already retconned that the demon is after the baby, Christy's baby, and that Christy will eventually be the one to give birth to that baby, it's now after Christy, which retcons the first one. We also retconned the second one because in the second one there was a break-in, and they said the only thing that was stolen was a necklace. Well, here there is a box of tapes, which Katie had brought over because she's moving into Micah's house, and there's not enough room. But yet, they are stolen, and these are the tapes, which will be found later in part 5. But yeah, and then we cut to 1988, and we got, you know, Julie is the mom, and she got her boyfriend named Dennis, and I do like there's an exchange between Julie and her mom talking about stuff, and she brings up that Dennis could just be, you know, using her for her money. Again, going back to what Ellie said about how made a deal to make their family rich, and it's only been women in their family up until Hunter. Although, one thing I forgot to mention is that if there hasn't been a male on their side of the family until Hunter, the demons shouldn't have paid up. They shouldn't have any money until a son is born. You know, that's how deals work. You gotta fulfill one half of the deal to get the other, man. You can't just, you know, what are they, you know, do they have something that's collateral or something? Is Christy collateral? Is Katie collateral? So they get to, I don't know. what? That's a high trust there. That one day, it may take you about 30 years or 300 years or whatever. However, it was that the deal was made, but I don't know. Yeah. And but Dennis is not. He's nothing like what Lois is saying here. You know, the grandma. Dennis is a good dude. All right. He's trying to figure out what's going on with his family. He's moved in sometime before this, and stuff is going on. He and Julie are making a sex tape after getting high, and I always laugh at this, man, because like she goes to light the joint, right? And she's like, "What are you doing? You can't film this. It's illegal." And I'm just like, "Yeah, that's hindsight is 2020." But that line is just, I mean, it's not legal in Minnesota yet. Come on, I don't do that shit. But everywhere else is legalizing it. Minnesota can't do it. Are we a prude state? What are we? You know. But yeah, like there's we can't film it. It's illegal. 80s. Everything was illegal, but we still did it. But you still did it anyway, right? I mean, I wasn't born yet, but you know, I was 1 when this movie takes place. But yeah, between them and the parents and Poltergeist, and I can say for sure they probably ripped off Poltergeist with this. Smoking Weed, she does the little voice. Tienes, what voice? Smoking me, you want? I can't do the voice, but yeah. And then there's an earthquake because it's California, and then they see dust falling, and then this is when Dennis, and you know, they do have a good excuse for why he's carrying the camera. He's a videographer. He does weddings and stuff. It's his job, so that's pretty cool. He's got Randy, and I like Randy, although he does puss out towards the end because he's not needed anymore. So let's have him get scared and run away. But it's very smart. Be like Randy. Be smart. Be like Randy. Except for they can't do that because they run and just follow them, you know. But Randy's nothing goes after Randy. Like, think about this. I think I might have mentioned this before, but think about this. Everything happens. Dennis and Julie gone. The girls have disappeared. Randy goes back to Dennis's house to talk to him. They're not there. Tries to find a way to connect with Dennis. It's 1988. There's no cell phones. At least no real cell phones, and the big honking ones that you have to, hello? But, yeah. So, and then he finds out Dennis is dead. Julie is dead. And the girls are somehow missing. And if you're thinking, no, wait a minute, they're just taken upstairs. We don't hear that they're missing. Well, according to the continuity of this film series, and what happens in stuff, videos found in the 6th one, goes to mention, yeah, they go missing until 1992 when the house goes on fire, but nobody buys the house because they're living in the house. I'm not going to get ahead on that because that's a whole set of continuity problems we're going to get to there. But yeah, with this film, think of this and the first 3, all right? That's all we know at this point. We don't know any of the others, okay? With that in mind, at least to Randy at this point, his best friend is dead, his best friend's girlfriend is dead, and the girls are missing, so to speak. But we know that eventually something happened, and that brings up another thing. Julie dies here. Yet, Mika in the first one says, well, you want to let your mom over to the house then? Wait, she's dead, so who's her mom? Later, again, we're going forward in continuity, but we find out that it's possible they're talking about Grandma Lois, but how old is Grandma Lois? We know she's dead from other stuff. So, because they do say later, Grandma Lois died. So, I don't know what they're talking about. I don't know what happens after this. I just don't know, okay? I just don't know. Yes. So Dennis puts cameras around the house. He starts with 2. One in the bedroom, his bedroom. One in the girls' room. And yeah, and I like how he's trying to figure out where to put it. He starts with it in the hallway, and he starts with it closer to the bed, starts at the end of the bed, and then he finally decides to put it on the other side, facing to the mirror and the doorway. It's a good vantage point. And he has the girls there by the little closet door thing, and is pointed at them. And then later he puts together another one. He takes a camcorder, puts on an oscillating camera, and it's an oscillating camera, but an oscillating fan, and so it can go between the front door and the kitchen and get a better vantage point. And I like it because it also gives you that vantage point of, it's going to turn. What's going to happen next? What's going to happen next? And it does work because later the babysitter comes over, right? And she's sitting there. And at one point you see this little person in a sheet standing by the front door. Camera moves. You see the babysitter comes back. It's gone. But the camera goes back. The babysitter, it's behind her. And then all of a sudden just sheet falls. And then she turns around. She's like, and then she goes upstairs. And then she gets spooked. And we never see her again. So be like babysitter and be like Randy. Get the hell out of there. Be smart. Be like that. Yeah, and then like there is a lot more that goes on here with like connecting between characters. There's not like the first two have just those long shots of just people sitting there. Like and then the second one, Christy just sitting in the kitchen looking at something, and it goes between camera to camera to camera. Here, it happens mostly at night. There's some stuff during the day, but there's a lot of talking. There's a lot of conversation. There's more going on than just stationary camera shots and nothing happening. There's a lot more that goes on. That's why I like this one better. But yeah. Itchy nose. I talk about touching my face in my original review, but my head itch. Anyway, man, hold on. I'm supposed to stop itching. Dry skin, maybe. So yeah, and like I said, Dennis is a good guy because when shit goes down at Grandma Lois's house, because eventually, hey, if you kind of think about it, Toby keeps asking Christy to do something, and she won't do it. Then all of a sudden, she threatens Katie, and she's like, okay, I'll do it. And the next thing you know, she's asking her to go to Grandma Lois's house. And, because they're all scared and everything. And then she's talking to Lois, you know, Julie's talking to Lois, and she's like, you come to my house, Why does she want them to come to her house? And then all of a sudden, Toby does the thing where he does the camera thing, and there's a knock on the door, so follows her to the door. When it comes back, the whole kitchen island thing is gone. And it goes, boom! Then they go to Grandma Lois's house, and that's when shit hits the fan. Because they go there, they're forced to sleep in separate beds because she doesn't like Dennis, but they end up sleeping in the same bed anyway, which, how you fit two adults in a twin bed? I don't know. But, then they wake up, they hear a noise. Julie goes to investigate, she doesn't come back, so Dennis is like, okay, I'm taking the camera, I'm gonna go myself. She goes down, and that's when Julie is flung down at him. Then he finds the girls, and like I mentioned before, Katie is possessed by Toby, so I'm assuming Katie is always meant to be possessed. He was going after Christy to get the baby, but it wasn't able to. So it's insinuating that Katie will always be possessed by Toby in some way, shape, or form. She's susceptible to it. But, like I said, Dennis is trying to save the girls. He takes Christy, he goes in the closet to hide, and then he goes out to get Katie, but she's demon face, and he gets flung back. Lois comes down. There is a nice shot, because, you know, a lot of these movies, you gotta watch the background. So when Julie and Dennis are talking, get ready for bed, you can see Lois in the background very quickly, and then when they walk past, she's gone again. So it's a nice thing. But he goes downstairs, a bunch of symbols. Shit's going down. He's flung back, and then she takes the girls up, and Toby just breaks Dennis in half, basically. And then knocks the camera over and it goes static. And if you pay close attention, you gotta pause it and go frame by frame. You can see the fire engulfing the house. 'Cause a lot of people, I said this in my first review, people could complain, hey, what happened to the fire? I thought there was a fire. Well, the fire actually happened in 1992, as we find out later, and we do see a glimpse of it. Julie and Dennis's bed up in flames. But I do think, in the context of taking away everything from the next sequels away, again, with Randy, alright? Julie and Dennis dead. The house engulfed in flames and burnt down. Katie and Christy missing. Or even somehow with Grandma Lois. Oh, they were with Grandma Lois when it happened, and Julie and Dennis died in the fire. But how does that explain every bone in Dennis's body being broken, or the injuries sustained by Julie from falling down the stairs? Who knows? Who knows? And yes, I'm one of those who say that she was alive and being held up by, or at least unconscious, and she died when she was flung down at Dennis. That's what I concede. But yeah, I thought this was pretty good. I do want to mention though that there is this scene at the beginning where they take a picture. It's the picture that ends up getting burned in the first two. Burned in the second one and found in the first one. You got to mention that because that's continuity. That's the only steady continuity we get in these first three films, is that picture somehow shows up in all three, or is referenced in some way. So yeah, but this one, I think it's better than I remember, man. Because I really enjoyed watching this. The acting is really good. I really like Dennis. I like Julie and Dennis's camaraderie. If I have to say one negative thing, it's that at some point, the whole something's going on, one person is trying to tell another person something's going on, and they don't believe them. It gets kind of tired. Because even Randy's like, you gotta tell Julie. And when he goes to tell her, she doesn't believe him. Even though there is proof, she doesn't want to look at it, because if she looks at it, she's got to be disproven the whole time. So she looks at it, she's going to believe it. So she's not going to look at it. Unlike Daniel in the last one, where he does eventually look at the footage and realize what's going on. She doesn't. It's not till Toby decides, fuck it, and drops the thing down, that she really realizes something's going on. But, So, my original rating for this, and it's weird, I gave it a 5 out of 10, which is the same as the first one, and it's better than the first one. I said, oh, it's about the same as the first one. Really? I guess I didn't like this one when I watched it before. But I like it better now. So, that in mind, a 5 would have been a middle of the road, like the first two. But this is better. So I'm going to say that Paranormal Activity 3 is pretty good. So what are your thoughts on Paranormal Activity 3? I did it in the last one, I did it in this one. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.